So do you want to hear an amazing story? It's about an 11-year-old Indian boy king who was separated from his mother, had his kingdom forcibly removed from him, and was exiled to Great Britain. He became the quintessential Victorian aristocrat, almost forgetting his Indian roots. He went shooting in Suffolk and even went vacationing with Prince Albert and Queen Victoria. Whilst merchants amassed huge fortunes exploiting India, our exiled hero died nothing more than a poor pauper. This is the story of Maharaja Duleep Singh, the last king of the Sikhs. My name's Hardeep Singh Kohli. I'm a Sikh and I'm a writer, but when it comes to writing Sikh stories, I don't think anyone could have written the tragedy that was the life of Maharaja Duleep Singh, a story not best known by any people, or indeed many Sikhs. He was the son of the famous Maharaja of Lahore, Ranjit Singh, founder and ruler of the Sikh kingdom of the Punjab. After the Second Sikh War of 1849, Maharaja Duleep Singh was forced to give up his kingdom, and all property of his state was confiscated by the East India Company. The deposed Maharaja was given a guardian, Dr. John Logan, who transformed him into a typical Christian gentleman. It was in April 1854 that Duleep Singh set sail for England. He was received by Queen Victoria at Buckingham Palace in July of the same year and became an instant hit with the monarch. The young Maharaja would also be invited to spend holidays with the royal family at their luxurious southern retreat at Osborne House on the Isle of Wight. Michael Hunter is the curator of Osborne House and has an intimate knowledge of the Maharaja's stay there.
I think he integrated very much into the royal family, and of course the Queen was very smitten with his good looks. He was a very dashing, good-looking chap, and Queen Victoria wasn't exactly immune to male good looks, as we all know. He was invited to all of the weddings of the Queen's children and state occasions and so on, and he would turn up in his wonderful Indian costume, dripping with jewels, which was a great talking point.
It's clear from all the writings and all the photographs and all the research that Duleep Singh was held in great affection by Victoria and the rest of the British royal family, but his status was still one of a deposed monarch. He was in exile, his country being ruled by the East India Company, who, fearful of another Sikh uprising, were very much trying to keep Duleep Singh as far away from India as possible, and they succeeded. Now, whether Maharaja Duleep Singh was oblivious to the machinations surrounding him, or because he simply just didn't care, he started to live the life of an English aristocrat. Now, every king needs a castle, and Maharaja Duleep Singh was no different. So he bought this amazing place, Hathrop Castle, in rural Gloucestershire. Here he indulged his great passion, hunting. From this point on, the Maharaja was truly inducted into rural life, becoming landed gentry. Think of this place much less as turbans and much more like tweed. As the Maharaja's passion for hunting developed, he soon outgrew Hathrop, and after a year he set his sights on Elvedon Hall in Suffolk. It seems more than a little ironic that while Duleep Singh was enjoying a palatial lifestyle like this, his mother was languishing in Nepal, where she'd escaped from the clutches of the East India Company. Duleep Singh would be reunited with his mother after 13 years. She would remind him of his Sikh heritage. But poor health led to her untimely death just 2 years later. In 1864, Duleep Singh married Maharani Bamba, the daughter of an Abyssinian lady and German merchant. A few years later, he purchased Elvedon Hall and began to live the life of a Suffolk squire. Children would soon follow. But the Maharaja's penchant for lavish parties and hunting would continue. By 1856, the Maharaja's extravagant lifestyle and the fact he was bringing up 6 royal children was beginning to have a real bearing on his finances. He was running out of cash. So he thought it was time to start asking questions of the authorities about his land and his property in the Punjab. This he did in a document called Annexation of the Punjab, in which he was highly critical of the British government. The publication would herald a darker period in the Maharaja's life, a period of political questioning. Peter Bance has painstakingly researched the life of the Maharaja over the last 8 years and has an intimate knowledge of this period in his life. I think the thing that significantly changed his whole position was the book, The Annexation of the Punjab.
Yeah, he had this book written by Major Evans Bell, who was a friend of his, and he was a known professional agitator. And in this book, Bell writes that Dalhousie could have crushed the rebellion which led to the Sikh War, but he let the rebellion expand, so a full-scale annexation could take place. And for this, the book wasn't met very happily with the high society and with the Queen. So to replace this book, he wrote in private circulation the Maharaja Duleep Singh and the Government, which was his own biography.
How much do you think Duleep Singh's wish to return to the Punjab was motivated by money and how much by national pride?
I think the first answer was financially and security, because he was told after his death Elverton Hall would be sold, so his children would have no home. And he, as a child, was taken out of his own house. He was taken out of Lahore and brought to England. So he didn't want the same for his children. Also, at the same time, it was national pride. I mean, while he was going out to India, he would be seen as the Maharaja's returning, coming back to get his kingdom. So I think he used that as a tool to give himself a better image.
The government tried to buy off the Maharaja with the sum of £50,000, only if he vowed never to return to India. But Maharaja Duleep Singh would not agree, and on the 31st of March 1886, he and his family set sail for his homeland. But the British had absolutely no intention of letting him return to the Punjab. He was detained in Aden. Ironically, it was during this trip that he returned to the Sikh faith, but he was never to see his beloved Punjab again. The following years were filled with frustration and tragedy. He tried in vain to lobby the Russian Tsar in his calls for justice. His youngest son and his wife Maharani Bamba both passed away in the space of 3 years. In France, on the 21st of October 1893, Maharaja Duleep Singh died. He died a broken man. His body was returned to Elverton, where he was laid to rest beside the graves of his wife and youngest son. So what do I think about Maharaja Duleep Singh? I think many things. I think he was a child ripped away from his family, ripped away from his country at a tender age, brought up by a manipulative monarchy who didn't have his best interests at heart. Is it any wonder he turned out to be the confused, lonely, and ultimately tragic figure that he was? All I know is that the future of the Punjab was changed irrevocably by the actions of the British, and we'll never know now what would or could have happened.